Hello everybody, hope you're all doing fantastically well. It is Connor here, and yeah, we are back here with the latest episode of the Room Mill. And yeah guys, a lot to talk about today. There's a little bit of news on the mill this morning as well, which is always nice when Leeds get a little bit of an update. And I thought today I'd do it live, because I'm not going to be able to do it live for a little bit. So yeah, keep getting your comments in, everybody. Noxon's in the building. Hello Connor, morning Connor. That shirt is, yeah, it's the best shirt, mate. It's the best shirt. It was, I think, my favourite one. That's probably my favourite, but this is different level, innit? A little bit of an update as well, everybody. I thought you'd quite like this one. I am actually off on, if you guys are aware of the show, I am off on the Overlap today. Yep, Sky Bet's show with Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville. I am going on there today, so this is where I am. Because normally I don't come on here with a Leeds shirt on, but I've been asked to wear a Leeds shirt for the show. So I'm heading down to Manchester, or across to Manchester, I should say, to film today. So that should be interesting. I don't know if I'm going to be able to interact with Carragher and Neville, but best believe I will be supporting Leeds United in every way possible on that panel show. So yeah. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. All the news today, we've got the agenda, as you can see on that side right there, yeah. So let's get into the news straight off the bat. Anyway, so Leeds United have announced a triple contract this morning, which is fantastic to see. The youngsters, as we reported yesterday on the Room Mill, it's been going round for a while now, that they're going to be tied down to a new contract. You got Sam Greenwood, Joe Gelhardt, Crescencio Somerville, all tied down to long-term contracts at the club. The trio have been in talks for months now. Gelhardt's penned a contract until the summer of 2027, which is fantastic. Greenwood and Somerville have both signed deals running until the summer of 2026. The three of them all arrived at Ellen Road as Leeds' first season back in the Premier League, and went to make their breakthrough seasons. And Leeds have announced from the club, Leeds United are delighted to confirm the futures of Joe Gelhardt, Sam Greenwood, and Crescencio Somerville have all been secured. Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, how Leeds have gone about this. Obviously, they've only essentially signed 2-year deals. I'm in the wrong year there, aren't I? Yeah, they've signed long-term deals. I'm at 2027. What year are we in? 2022. 2022, yeah, it's long deals. It's been a long day. Already it's been a long day. The preparation for going live is something else. But yeah, long-term deals, as the article reported. So that's all good stuff. That's all good news. So yeah, I think the Gelhardt one's the big one for me. I think we're all in agreement that Joe Gelhardt being tied down to a long-term contract is always going to be a big thing, a big deal. I think 2027 is always a massive contract that the teams aren't going to be able to buy him out of that one as well, which is huge. You're looking at Sam Greenwood. I think Greenwood, overall, it's a decent deal. It's interesting as well with Greenwood, because I'm not fully convinced on him yet, but I think there is serious potential there. I think he's shown in the Jesse Marsch system as well that he's one of his favourites, which is mad. It really is mad. He's not really a centre forward anymore. He's more of a central attacking midfielder, which is interesting. The Crescencio Somerville one is a bit mad, because we've not seen him make that step up yet. We've not seen him make that step up to the Premier League. Really, we've seen him being unbelievable in the 23s, but that step up to the first team it's a massive gap to fill, isn't it? So yeah. Fantastic news all around. Leeds securing them all to long-term deals. Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Kieran's in the building, says, get yourself a pint before another nervous season starts. I've been saying for ages, why haven't you been on the Overlap? Enjoy and do us proud here, bro. Thanks for the donation, mate. It's very, very kind of you. Very, very kind. Appreciate that one. Yeah, I don't know. I've just not been asked, which is fair enough. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I don't think they're going to be asking me many questions, but yeah, obviously with us being Leeds fans, I think, if it was a top 4 debate, which it will be, there'll be lots of things going on there, but it'll just be great to be there and get their perspectives, because I do respect them both. I wonder what they're thinking about relegation. I wonder what they're thinking about the teams going to be battling down there. I know TalkSport have done something this morning about Leeds potentially getting relegated. I will have a video coming out, everybody, either tomorrow or the day after. I'm on holiday tomorrow. So yeah, I've got a video coming out on my preseason predictions. We've got Wolves' strengths and weaknesses on the Patreon account as of Thursday. We've got a video already on the Patreon account regarding Wolves that I did yesterday. So check out that if you want some bonus content. Hope you're well, Connor. Hello, Hannah. Hope you're all doing well. Everyone's tipping us for relegation, so you'll probably ask. Yeah, I'm expecting that one to come anyway. Anyway, talking about relegation, talking about the next step for Leeds United and keeping above that parapet, really. Jack Harrison, I was going to do a video on it yesterday, but I just didn't end up doing it, and we just stuck with the rumour mill off that day. We didn't do a double episode, which sometimes we have done on the channel. Jack Harrison, there was a 33 million bid rejected yesterday from Newcastle for the English winger. It's fascinating, isn't it, at the minute? It's fascinating with what's going on with him. It's fascinating with how Leeds are going to play this. It's fascinating at the fact that still in the Athletic mailbag this morning and yesterday, Leeds are very interested in Martin Tellier in France, which would look like not a direct replacement, but a very, very similar replacement to Jack Harrison. And that would cost nigh on 35-40 million. So that's almost like not a ready-made replacement there, but it's definitely someone who Leeds would probably go in for if Jack was to move on. Now, as an isolated figure, 40 million euros is obviously what the bid was rejected at, but Leeds want 40 million quid. Now, that is a massive, massive amount of money. I think I've said it before on here. In isolation, that's a deal that you've got to accept for me. 40 million for Jack Harrison. Now, with what's gone on now with Leeds United, with selling on Rafinha and Calvin Phillips in the position that we're in now, I'm not sure we can do that business. I'm not sure we can do it because I think the transition from another winger coming in with no pre-season friendly and coming straight into a game with Wolverhampton Wanderers on the 6th is going to be very, very difficult for Leeds to be able to make up that gap. Jack Harrison's probably going to get you 10 goals in a season, probably going to get you 3 or 4 assists, maybe even more minimum. I still think he should be more consistent, but it is what it is. I think losing him would be massive. I think it'd be a huge miss selling him on, just on the basis that if we'd have done it earlier and we hadn't have maybe sold Rafinha, I'd get it. But right now, I think it'd be absolutely huge. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Mickey's in the building and says can't sell our top 3 players. I think I'd agree with you, mate. I think it's going to be a difficult one for Leeds to be able to even sell that to the fans. You know, selling that to the fans is going to be an almighty task. You know, Phillips going, Harrison going, and Rafinha going. I'm not 100% sure if that's the right way of going. Jack's in the building says, in my opinion, we should take the money for Harrison. Okay, fair enough, mate. That's interesting. Jack would look great in pre-season. Do not sell at all costs, says Nipper. Yeah, I think overall, Leeds can't do it. Leeds can't do it. And if they were to do it, I'd be a little bit worried. I really would. They make profit on Jack Harrison. His contract's running out in 2 years' time anyway. We've got it for 11 million. It'd be an unbelievable bit of business. You've almost sort of, tripled your value, quadrupled your value of him. So, yeah. We've got to wait and see on that one, but I think Harrison to stay is absolutely massive, as you can see on the agenda list there. Let's have a look. Please get your comments in the section below on what you guys think. James W said if we can get 40 and then buy Terrier, we'll be in a better position long term. Selling all 3, Jonesy says would feel like a similar gamble to standing still last year. Would be very worried. I guess that's it as well, isn't it, Jonesy? It's what have we sold and what have we brought in? That's what you've got to ask yourself. It's the great equalizer, isn't it? For the players that you've brought in, who have you sold, and what is the quality of player that you've sold? You've sold Rafinha, and then you sell Jack Harrison in terms of an attacking double. That is massive. Taking away those goals. But then again, if you look on the flip side of it, are you going to be able to get the same? Is Harrison at his ultimate stock right now, or is he going to improve, or is it going to go downhill? We'll have to wait and see. But now he's not in a sort of a wide system. Is he going to go downhill a little bit? Who knows? It's definitely a question, isn't it? B3 says Rodders will be a different player this season. Willie, well, everyone's been saying that. Cage's, I messaged Cage about it the other day, and he's not getting torn on it because he was saying the other day, last year he was giving Rodrigo when he went on that spell of turning things round. I don't think you can sort of do that with Rodrigo because he's just so inconsistent, isn't he? So inconsistent. Should we get Philip Max as a left-back option, says the great Sir Robert Covington. I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. I don't think it makes sense for Philip Max. In terms of evaluation, I get it. Of course I get it. But there's better out there. There's better out there. And I just don't understand. I don't understand why we're not doing it, but it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is, but we'll have to wait and see. Next on the agenda anyway, everybody, Struijk, what is next? Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because Pascal Struijk has been moved to left-back. Now, there was an article yesterday, I don't know if it was by the YEP or The Athletic, basically discussing what is going to be next for Pascal Struijk. Is it going to be left-back? Is it going to be centre-back? Now, on my pre-season prediction video I've spoken about, I've put certain categories on there in terms of what I'm expecting from Leeds United this season: breakthrough star, most improved player, star man, yada yada yada. So I've sort of answered certain things in those categories, and it'll probably become a little bit clearer when that video comes out. But I think Pascal Struijk is going to be massive for Leeds this season. I think the problem is with someone like Pascal Struijk is you take him out of that centre back role where he's gonna be very, very good in the long run, and he's going to strike up a decent partnership with Pascal Struijk, and you neglect him where he's very, very good. You're being naive in the transfer market. You're not bringing the left back. You're sticking him out wide, then you're sticking Leo Yelder out wide, and it's square pegs round holes again. They don't, for me, have the mobility to be consistent left backs either, and that is the problem. It's getting up and down. It's been. I'll be honest with you guys. There was 2 or 3 times in that game yesterday, or the game against Cagliari, where you'll have seen it on the highlights. You go back and watch it. That ball clipped over the left-hand side, Pascal's out of position, right? That's not his fault. I don't blame him. But it's the mobility of getting up and then being able to get back, because he is our width. That left-back is our width because we're playing a narrow system. That right-back is our width because we're playing a narrow system. So those two are going to get caught out, but it's all about that recovery rate, that recovery speed. Does Pascal have that in that left-back position? I don't think he has, because he's not a left-back. So it's annoying me a lot that that's what we're doing. That's how we're going into the season. You know, that is what Leeds fans can expect. Pascal Struijk to be left back. And then until probably Junior Firpo comes back, it's going to be a case of Leo Yelder going there. I like Leo Yelder. I do. But is it fair once again to be dragging him out and sticking him left back? Probably not. So a lot to consider there. And please let me know what you guys think about that. Mickey is in the building and says Van Struijk and Van Kock pairing centre-backs. Yeah, 100%. I think Noah's in the building that says Pascal and Koch centre-backs as well. Cooper's injury issues means we aren't going to get a settled centre-back partnership. More avoidable goals conceded, I fear. James in the building says Struijk did fine at left-back, but he can be great at centre-back, and we can get a natural left-back in. That's what I mean, mate. I've said it multiple times. There are so many out there. That Leeds can go and get. I've mentioned it on several videos as well. You know, Luke Thomas, great shout from KG. I'm going to bang the Charlie Taylor drum till I'm blue in the face. Was playing centre-back the other day for Burnley. Had a great game. Talking about versatility, then at least he's got that in his locker. There's many out there. You know, I was banging the drum of Alvaro Fernandez. I know he's gone to a championship club, but I think he could definitely cut it in the Premier League. So there are several out there that Leeds could go out and do. Left backs are cheap. You know, Timon, we're talking about Timon at Stoke as well. That's going to cost you less than 10 million for a 23-year-old left back who is Stoke's best player at the minute, and someone who could come into this Leeds United setup. And listen, if Marsh doesn't want him to start and he wants Junior Firpo to be his number one left back, that's absolutely fine. I'm sure Timon will come in, do a decent job, and then they'll start battling him and Junior Firpo. But there are many out there. Philip Max is a step up on Junior Firpo. He's not the one I'd be going out and getting, but he's an upgrade on Junior Firpo, and it would give Leeds an actual left back, an actual genuine left back. So yeah, I'm just hoping we're going to go out there and do it. What happened with Chris Richards says Pat P. I think he's gone to Crystal Palace, mate. Charlie Taylor, no brainer. Yeah, a lot of people. Listen, I've never seen such hate for Charlie Taylor on socials for a player, I should say. Staggering, isn't it? How a manager we all called a snake has got Leeds fans wrapped round the little fingers when it comes to Charlie Taylor. It's staggering. I find it unbelievable. But then fair play is, you know, people are obviously entitled to their opinion. We've spoken about the contracts as well. It's interesting when we're talking about Crescencio Somerville as well. Apparently Rangers are throwing their hat into the mix with regards to signing him on loan. Obviously, they had Amad Diallo last year, who's a similar sort of profile to Crescencio Somerville. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Rangers are going to go down that path again. Somerville in the SPL would be very, very interesting, wouldn't it? And that would maybe give him a little bit of a natural progression into the Premier League, or maybe need another loan before he gets to the Premier League. Still don't think he's shown those true quality attributes that you need to be a Premier League winger. I don't know. We always talk about the step up between the 21s, the 23s, or whatever it is nowadays, and the Premier League, it's absolutely massive. Gelhart's made that step up. To be fair to him, Greenwood's made that step up. We've not really seen it with Drame yet, obviously, and we've not seen it with Somerville yet. So maybe a loan to an SPL club, a top SPL club, where he's going to get loads of experience, would be beneficial for him. We'd want him playing week in, week out, of course. That'd have to be a stipulation in his contract. However, I don't think that'll be a bad deal at all. He's not going to get many minutes at Leeds, let's be quite honest. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. James says, unfair for Pascal to play left back like we did with Robin in midfield last season. Completely agree, mate. It's one of those where fans will always turn around at the end and say as well, Pascal was rubbish. Robin was rubbish. They weren't as good. Cooper was better. And listen, this isn't me tearing out Liam Cooper at all. I like Coops, I really do. But at least when Coops comes back in, he's a centre back. At least when he comes back in, he's a centre back. He's always a centre back. Before he'll naturally get his injuries, which he does every single 3 or 4 months. At least he goes back in centre back every single time. What you've got with Pascal is left back. You've got defensive midfield. Robin Koch, you've got him at right back. You've got him in defensive midfield. How can you properly judge those two? Because people will judge them as centre-backs. They will judge them as defenders. How can you properly judge them when they're playing defensive midfield, left back, right back? It's ridiculous. Whereas at least when Coops comes in, he's a standard centre-back. He'll never play anywhere else. And I think it's just balmy at the minute that we're not putting these two together consistently. And I don't want to see Llorente there. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't want to see Llorente there because my issue with Llorente is it's not him as a I think as a human being. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. I think he's a good ball player out from the back. But I think a lot of the cons outweigh the pros, especially when you're playing a high line, which we're going to be playing this season. I get the distribution into the midfield is going to be something that Marsh wants, him fizzing those balls into the attacker, into that midfield space as well, the attacking midfield space to like Aronson or whatever. The problem is going to be his rash tackles, which we see all the time with Llorente, his bizarre decision-making, his lack of focus and concentration, and as we saw yesterday, him losing his man, which he does frequently. That Cagliari first goal was a joke. Just lost his man. And he was in. No, just chip it over Meslier. So that's what I mean. I think when you've got Robin and Pascal together, it's a more concentrated, it's a more focused, it's a more disciplined back two. Border says, Millwall channels loving Cresswell, saying future England captain, 100%. Llorente's positioning is very, very questionable. Definitely. James Gibson said, I would love Tellez as he thinks he is underappreciated and can defend. His delivery is outstanding. His defending isn't his strong point, but not a major weakness. Listen, it's not a bad shout, Tellez. It's not a bad shout at all. As you've quite rightly said, I think his defending is questionable, but I don't think it's the worst at all. I think he'd be able to fit this system. The great Sir Robert Covington, great name. Who would you want to see as a backup keeper since we let Casilla go? Well, pick. I mean, there's a bunch out there, mate. There's a bunch out there, but I'd probably go with Randolph or Ben Foster. Probably Ben Foster. And it's not a starting goalkeeper. It's not. It's just someone who can challenge Elan Meslier a little bit. Nipper's in the building and he's screaming, I like Charlie Taylor. There we go. And as I've said, if it isn't Charlie Taylor, that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine by me. There's a lot of people thinking I've got this like massive thing with Taylor, but I do think someone tagged me in a video of him yesterday of his like Premier League, it was his Premier League sort of highlights over the past 8 years, and I just think he'd fit. But it is what it is. Hello from Texas, says Cub. Hello, my friend. Hope you're all doing well out there. Anyway, Shea Adams. Let's have a chat about Shea Adams. Leeds United correspondent Phil Hay has shared what he knows about the Whites' links with Southampton. Shea Adams ahead of the club's Premier League season opener against Wolves next Saturday. The Whites have been after a new striker during pre-season, but are still yet to get one through the door. Main target Charles de Ketelaere heading to Milan. Arnaud Kalimwendo potentially staying at PSG or going to Rennes maybe. But Martin Terrier rumours to Leeds haven't gathered that much pace. But Adams is definitely on the agenda. This is what we know with Leeds. The targets are always there. We've always known this. We always blamed it on Bielsa. When you looked at Ryan Kent, when you looked at Dan James, when you looked at Costa, players like that who we'd heard before, but they didn't really materialise, but they were still on that list. And we all blame Marcelo Bielsa, but I think there's a lot of that with Victor Orta. I think Victor Orta sticks by his targets. I think he's got targets and he'll go back in for them again and again and again. And I think we've seen that with Che Adams. Leeds were clearly interested in him. They were knocked back by him, weren't they? A couple of years ago, I believe it was now, when Leeds were heavily interested in him. And he moved on. But yeah, I like Che Adams. On the video yesterday of the Rumour Mill, I spoke to you guys on why I would like Che Adams. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys would think on that one. I think that one's going to gather pace if Leeds aren't able to get anybody else. I think if obviously we're not able to get Callum Wendo, if we're not able to get maybe a couple of others, Che Adams is going to be looked at as an alternative. There's been a rumoured price of 10 to 15 million. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Yeah, Dennis isn't a bad shout. He's 10 times the player Che Adams is, but I guess with Dennis, he's probably going to be not 10 times, but he's going to be sort of 3 or 4 times the price tag as well. No, don't get Che Adams in, get Emmanuel Dennis in. Striker is a must for Leeds. I think someone who can score 20 or around 20 or so goals a season. Adams would be good. I think Southampton are weak at times, which doesn't help him. 10 to 15 million for Che Adams is nothing, says Noxon. Yeah, look as well, everybody. It looks like Mikel Damsgaard is going to be going to Brentford for 15 million, and I've still seen Leeds fans turn their nose up at that. If that was Leeds in for him, we'd be all buzzing. I think he's got 2 goals in 46, which isn't unbelievable. But he's a central attacking midfielder. He has got injuries before, but you know, best believe if Brentford are going in for a player, they've done that, it's going to be a success. Brentford's Moneyball approach is always very, very good. If they're able to get a direct replacement for Christian Eriksen and bring Mikel Damsgaard in at 15 million quid, that is an unbelievable sign. If they're able to get the best out of him, surround him with better attacking players than what he's had at Sampdoria, it's going to be a proper signing. If he could even play 30 games a season, it's going to be a very, very good signing for Brentford. So I think that price bracket of 10 to 15 million, when you're able to get someone who's applied the trade in the top 5 leagues, you can't really turn your nose up at it for me. A lot of people against it though. A lot of people are against it, which is interesting. Is Perkins a strong option, a striking option? Sorry, I think so. But there's been a lot of talk of him playing in that central attacking midfield space. Mickey says Shea is a step backwards. Ask yourself who in the Prem would buy Che Adams. I think you'd probably get quite a few, mate. I think the thing is with Che Adams is I think he's an upgrade on what we've got. I think he's a very decent link man to the central midfield spaces. I think he's an absolute grafter. I think I've said this yesterday as well. I think the striking role has evolved. I don't think you get standard number 9s anymore, and that's not what Che Adams is. I think when you look at him in an RB system, which he's playing in at the minute at Southampton, he understands it very well. I think he does a lot of the dirty work for players like Armando Broja to be able to be as successful as he was. There's no way Broja would have got the numbers without Che Adams last season. For Scotland are a completely different team to when Che Adams isn't there, to when he is there. He's absolutely the difference maker in that Scottish national side. Everybody who plays with Che Adams massively rates Che Adams. Everybody who manages Che Adams hugely rates Che Adams. He's got a fantastic attitude. So I think it's difficult for me to say this, but I don't really understand who are we thinking? What are the alternatives? Emmanuel Dennis is a good shout. But Dennis is going to be very, very expensive. He's going to be very, very expensive, and Watford are not going to let him go cheaply. So when you're looking at that next bracket of player, when you're looking at someone who could fit the system, who's going to be able to transition into it very, very easily, you are weakening a rival as well. Weakening a rival who finished above us last season, who have been in the Premier League longer than us. Che Adams has been in the Premier League longer than Leeds United, consistently playing for Southampton. Can he really be that bad as people are making out? I'm not sure he is. When you look at a lot of the Southampton journalists, when you speak to a lot of Brummie journalists, when he played there, Sheffield United as well. I've had a couple of chats with lads who I used to work with for Sheffield United. They say he's an absolute proper operator, and will give you more than goals. So I just, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because maybe fans would accept no goals, but more work rate and more effort from certain individuals. I'll throw Dan James in there. They'll accept his work rate, where he maybe doesn't need assists and goals, but he's a grafter, is Dan James. But when it comes to someone like Che Adams, not interested. I think a 20-goal-a-season striker is going to be difficult to find. A 25-goal-a-season striker is going to be exceptionally difficult to find. without other clubs going in for that individual. And look where we finished last season. We finished 17th. By all the bookies are thinking that we're going to be in a relegation battle. So who are we going to get that is going to be a 20-goal a season striker who is going to come in and absolutely tear it up for Leeds United? Is it realistic? Is it realistic? Paul said, Shea Adams, similar stats as Rodrigo, but Paul, you've got to contextualise it, mate. They're completely different players. You know, when you look at chance creation, when you look at creating space for individuals, when you look at the overall package that Shea Adams brings, it's much more than everything Rodrigo gives. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to stats. You know, assists and goals can be misleading. Shea Adams might not have the best stat package, but when you look at his overall contribution to the side, which is what we used to do in the Bielsa era, when we backed Patrick Bamford wouldn't get that many goals. When we're all being realistic about it, you'd be able to compare him to some maybe poorer players in the Championship, but Paddy would give you so much more. He'd give you so much more in terms of the team, which is what the Jesse Marsh ethos is. It's not about the individual, it's about the team, it's about the press, it's about the engine. So this is what I mean. I don't understand how it's one rule for one and another rule for another. That's just my opinion anyway. Patson Daka's a good shout. I tell you what, Dave was saying on the Talking Wolves chat as well. Dave was saying, I'm surprised Leeds haven't gone in for Hwang. Obviously, he scored against us last season. He's played in the Red Bull network as well. Jesse Marsh is very aware of him. And I think that's what we've got to go down. We've got to go down the system-based players now. We've seen with Christensen, we've seen with Adams, we've seen with Aronson how it works. You know, and it's great to see that. But in that attacking quartet, we also need players who are able to just seamlessly transition now, able to come in. Yeah, definitely loads to look at there. Sinisterra update. Okay, Sinisterra update. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be missing the Wolverhampton Wanderers game. I don't know what is going on with this camera. Is it red? Why do I look so orange? What the hell is going on? My camera's screwing up here, guys. I don't know what's going on. I need to have a look at that. But yeah, Sinisterra update. It looks like he's not going to be making the first day of the season, which is a bit of a shame, but we're going to be looking at the X Factor from other people. Maybe Brendan Aronson is going to be able to provide that. So yeah, exciting times for Leeds. I'm looking forward to the start of the season. Guys, have a good one. Have a great day, and I will see you in a bit. Cheers.